Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson, and if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show this morning. We're meeting with very special guest Jim Hunter, who's the president and CEO of House Doctors. The House Doctors Handyman franchise is an exciting franchise opportunity. The home repair and handyman industry in North America is growing significantly due to the increase in home ownership and aging housing stock. And that's coming up in segment 2 of Franchise Interviews, so stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com. Franchise Interviews. For over 2 years now, Franchise Interviews has been giving you an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship.
Through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising.
And our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, experts, and attorneys.
And our free franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919.
That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson, and if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. How you doing today, Don? Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Marty, how about you this week?
Good. Beautiful week here in Pennsylvania. A nice day today. It seems like spring is finally hitting.
Right. Yeah,
so
sun's out, nice.
Yeah, and we got a holiday this weekend, so,
right.
Lots going on for this
right.
week. I didn't tell you, we got my son's picture with the Easter Bunny, so
wow.
I know we've been sharing these stories throughout the years, so
right.
and he looks terrified. I mean, he was just, of course, he was crying and everything like that,
right.
But it's just fun to take those pictures, so just very interesting. So I'll have to send you a copy of that, and we'll perhaps post it on the website.
Yeah, our kids in our town went on had an Easter egg hunt.
Oh, okay.
And then my daughter took her picture with the Easter Bunny. My son's a little nervous still.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty terrifying to the kids. I didn't realize. I mean, he just had this look on his face like, "Why are you doing this to me?" So it's a great picture, though. But lots of fun. Our last show, Don, we met with Jennifer Lemke of the Weedman franchise opportunity, and Weedman they have almost 40 years of lawn care experience, and they've grown to be the world's largest lawn care franchise. Thought it was a very interesting concept. This was the first time we've had this type of franchise on the show in 2 years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on last week?
Well, I mean, obviously a very smart woman.
Right.
It was, the whole success story on what happened. I think her father became a franchisee in Canada, and then they ended up buying up more territory, eventually becoming, I think, the largest franchisee in Canada, and then owning the rights to expand into the U.S.
The U.S. She's got that master franchisor title here in the United States, So, I mean, I think they're going to be huge here in the States. One of the things that really stood out for me, and it's something that I'm going to use with my marketing class. I'm always talking about wowing the customers or wowing your employees, and they have this great culture. She said, "Let us amaze you," and that's really what they aspire to do is, amaze their customers, amaze their employees, and they just have that interesting culture, which is a big part of what you should look for when you buy a franchise, So,
I mean, there's so much competition in that business, lawn care, lawn design, and landscaping. But I like the edge that people would have in investing in their franchise. Because you have to have the edge, whether it's marketing, advertising, the support, the technology aspect of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Something that she mentioned, and a lot of our other guests have mentioned this, and it'll probably even be mentioned on today's show, when we have Jim on the show today, Don, is, people are taking better care of their surroundings, aren't they? We've used the word, God, probably like a dozen times in the last year, is staycation. People are just putting more into their homes, Again, they're not going on vacation as much. They're being a little more careful. And this is an investment, isn't it? I mean, in many cases, I know Jennifer was mentioning that, by using their type of service with the Weedman franchise, increases the value of your home. Not only your home, but your neighbors' homes as well. And, sometimes I think you have that pressure, don't you? I don't know if you have it with, keeping up with the Joneses. You look at your neighbor's lawn and you say, God, it looks so nice.
How's it so green? How's it so, and you see that they're putting money into it. And that was interesting, too, because, a lot of people sell their homes throughout the country, and it might not be a bad idea to make a little investment, make the lawn and, your outside area look real nice.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's an investment, So, and those guys that have weeds on their lawn, I'm sure they get a lot of nasty looks from their neighbors, don't they? So, it's a great service. I'd love to watch them grow throughout the next year. I have a feeling, again, there's going to be some nice growth here in the States, and, perhaps we'll have her back towards the end of the year or, early next year.
Right, definitely.
So, good show. What do we got going on today and over the next, I'll talk about what's going on over the next month. You could tell me what's going on today.
Yeah, well, today, Jim Hunter, President and CEO of House Doctors.
It's good. We're looking forward to that.
Handyman franchise, and they look like they're on the right track, so we'll find out all about their history and everything from Jim. Yeah,
this is another growing industry, and next week, Don, we got, this is over the next month, we have Wing Zone. The following week after that, we have Big Mouth Advertising, and you and I are both familiar with that franchise, aren't we?
Right. Definitely.
We had that nice billboard on Big Mouth's billboard in Washington, D.C., and it was just really
right
incredible.
At the trade show, and they're a company that has ads on, beautiful truck, and we'll hear all about it.
Yeah, it really is amazing.
They had our radio show ad. Even driving from Florida up to D.C., they had to drive the truck all the way to the show, and then while at the show, inside, they had the truck right near their booth space. And they had a tremendous spot, and they had our show ad up a lot, so that was nice. Yeah,
we have the pic. I don't know. Did I send you the pictures or not? I can't remember.
No.
Billboard. Okay, I'm going to have to send that to you because it was really nice. And they had a nice turnout at their booth as well, which was nice to see. And then the following week after that, I know you and I are both fans of this franchise, Rita's. And we've had Rita's on our show in the past. We've had Jim Rudolph, who was like really a professor when we had him on.
Right.
He's just incredible, so much experience. And the week after that, we have TSS Photography. And I know you're familiar with those guys, aren't you?
Yes.
So that's good. So it's a pretty strong lineup over the next month. We have a lot more shows that are going to go up on the website, just so you know. But that's what the next month is going to look like. So a lot of exciting stuff happening. So, yeah. So what's going on in the world of franchising, Don?
Okay. Well, I found a few things here, Marty. Here's our friends over at Franchise Times Magazine, an article, Tight Credits Turning Franchisors into Lenders by Jonathan Mays. V2K window decor had to do something. Franchise sales were plummeting, not because people weren't interested in opening units for the low-cost home-based concept, but because they couldn't get loans. So the company took the financing issue into its own hands, literally by starting its own internal financing program. I think years ago, more franchisors would provide financing. Then I think a lot got away from it. Probably still a lot of the lower income or startup franchises, do some of that. But
I noticed that too. I know not to cut you off, but when I got involved in franchising, back in I guess it was '98, I noticed a lot more franchisors seem to do financing.
Right.
So that was interesting.
It goes on. Now the company gets prospects' credit information along with all the other information V2K gets in deciding who should get a franchise. We were finding that people otherwise qualified can't get financing through traditional methods. And obviously that's my business, doing business loans nationwide for franchisees. It's been more difficult. Loans still, you just have to know where to go. That's where our company comes in. He says demand is still out there, but the availability of credit is thin, says Paul Lindenberg. Incentives such as reduced royalties or waived franchise fees have been common as franchise sales have fallen amid the recession and the collapse of the credit markets. But a growing number of systems are taking an even more radical step by guaranteeing and servicing the loans or even lending the money outright. Some companies feel they have little choice. Low interest rates for years encouraged a loose lending environment that fueled growth in the franchise sector. The credit crisis has put a stop to that environment. While there is some evidence that the market is improving, lending is unlikely to reach pre-recession levels anytime soon. And I agree with that it's probably never going to get back to the way it was, but it's going to be getting better, but things are still going to be tough for a little while.
Sure.
Probably for the rest of the year. The lending tightness is especially difficult on franchises with smaller initial investments because banks are less likely to write smaller loans in the current environment. The world has changed, says Tarek Farid, CEO of Edible Arrangements, who we've had on the show, of course.
Yeah, he was a great guest, too, yeah.
It's gone from banks giving loans to anyone with a pulse to where they hardly give to anybody.
Wow.
Disagree with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Even before the recession, it's not like, lenders still had their guidelines, but looser, of course.
Sure.
And now loans are happening, but it's obviously gotten much tougher. Tighter lending is slowing companies' growth and putting a substantial dent in revenues. V2K's revenue from franchise sales in the 3 months ending December 31 fell nearly 80%. That difference, about $236,000, represented just about all of the company's total losses for the quarter.
Wow.
As a result, franchisers are now considering options they wouldn't have even thought of a few months ago so they can get units open, such as internal financing. Everybody's feeling the same effects as we are, Lindenberg said. And he says we needed to do something innovative to change the dynamic. Internal financing is hardly new. Companies such as ServiceMaster, Applebee's, and Hardee's have had such programs in the past to ensure that their units can get the financing they need, yet franchisors have generally been reluctant to develop such financing management and programs, in large part because they had no need to give the ready availability of credit and because they feared the risks of financing. I mean, that is kind of risky, again, it depends on the size loan you're giving, but
sure.
I can't see this becoming the norm, franchisors, financing people. But I could see a few concepts here and there. Maybe the more established ones, the more successful, the more with a lot more, funds in their accounts. I can see, doing this a little bit.
What about becoming like a co-signer or something like that? Would that ever be an option? With the franchise co-signs on the loan? I mean, again, it's always risky. Again, franchising is a relationship. And
right.
So who knows? I guess there's a lot of different options, but I see, that I guess there's a problem here, and they're trying to, as you said, be innovative, and think outside the box and say, okay, what can we do here, to overcome the situation. So I guess there's a lot of different ideas. We've seen a lot of creative ideas over the last 6 months, haven't we, Don, as far as what's going on in franchising with some 2-for-1 deals and waiving the franchise fee, in some cases, which could be kind of high, right? I mean, we're talking sometimes $30,000-$40,000 to waive that. I mean, that's pretty attractive in some cases. So I think it's made the whole world of franchising a lot more competitive. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah, we've seen different franchise systems making adjustments to just keep trying to grow or just maintain their status.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's an interesting article.
It goes on a little bit here. It says, now that they have a need, franchisors have been looking into the plans with gusto. Dennis Monroe, attorney with the Minneapolis law firm of Crass Monroe, said that his firm has been inundated with requests from franchisors seeking to guarantee financing. They're open to the options, he says. He believes that franchisors were conservative over the years, which kept them from developing programs. Yet he said they should have been doing this a long time ago, actually.
Right.
He said franchisors with internal financing plans not only ensure financing but can get more control over what happens to their system. And he said that the risks of internal financing need to be overstated. I think it's just silly not to have been doing it in the past, he said. It's not his money, so I guess.
That's true.
So I guess they could have saved their systems a lot of heartache.
Right.
Yeah, but it can open up a lot of heartache. That's really putting a. Well, I mean, it's good because it's showing your franchisee you have a lot of confidence in your system.
Sure.
If you're willing to provide your own financing, so I guess there's some pros and cons to this. But
I think so. And I was going to say too, does it enhance the relationship too? You know what I mean? Knowing that the franchise has done that for you, would you feel more loyalty towards them? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things to take into consideration here.
And it says here, Marty, what you were saying, there are numerous ways companies can offer internal financing. They can provide limited guarantees, full guarantees, loan servicing, remarketing agreements, mezzanine financing, or joint ventures. Franchisors can raise money themselves and set up a separate fund, or they can simply use their own available cash.
Well, and we spoke about that. A lot of people, I'm surprised, Don, I guess, I don't know if you experience this, I suspect you might, but a lot of people are unaware of how SBA loans actually work. That it's not really coming from the SBA, right? I mean, they're kind of backing it, right? If in case there's a default, but they're not actually writing a check.
Right. No, the government, the Small Business Administration, they're guaranteeing the loan.
Right.
They're serving as like an insurance company to just regular banks and lenders nationwide who are actually lending the money, but getting the guarantee through the SBA. So they're getting a certain percent guarantee where they can recoup money in the case of a defaulted loan.
Yeah, and I find that a lot of younger aspiring entrepreneurs don't get this. I have to kind of explain it to them because I think their perception is that the SBA cuts them a check for $100,000 or $200,000 and they're off on their way. So that's and we've had shows, by the way, that discuss this topic. I think at some point we are going to have another franchise funding show, aren't we?
Definitely.
Educating our listeners about the whole funding process because it is such a hot topic.
That's
everything that we do.
Definitely a must, and we'll have a few guests on, and besides myself, talking about it in detail on what's happening. Here's something, Marty. U.S. News and World Report: How to Start a Small Business Now. A tough economic climate can be the best time to become an entrepreneur, by Kimberly Palmer, and they ask her some questions. What are the pros and cons of starting a small business in this kind of economic environment? She says it can be really great time to start a business, which is the opposite of what people presume, obviously in a tough time. The down market can provide lower cost of real estate in terms of leasing space and lower labor costs because people are willing to work for less or for deferred payments with the option of equity. Larger groups of people are open to taking that chance of being an entrepreneur because being laid off is that kick in the butt to take their idea to the next level.
Wow, that's interesting. It's something that I just heard last week, Don, is I think you'll find this interesting, because it relates to franchising. Is McDonald's? I mean, in a lot of places like that, I mean, they're getting applicants, that have college, they have bachelor's degrees, and I don't know about master's degrees and things like that, but the pool for employees is so much higher today, so
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's more quality people.
Sure.
A lot better, lease negotiation if that's the type of franchise you're doing. These are the lowest rates for a business loan in 5 years.
And that's what entrepreneurs do is, they look for this kind of opportunity, I know the franchise that we're having on today, for house hunters. They're, they've taken advantage of this, economy. I know a lot more people are, improving their homes and things like that and having things fixed. So,
right.
I know some of their franchisees are doing very, very well.
Right. It goes on, Marty. Things to consider include whether you have enough operating capital. So if you have payables that haven't come in for 30, 60, or 90 days, you can still operate. For a lot of businesses like a restaurant, you need to plan on not turning a profit for 3 years. And that's what's nice about franchising.
Right.
A lot of times you're making a profit in the first year. Not the case with a non-franchise business, which stats show take longer. So identifying your niche and having a well-thought-out strategic plan is paramount. Focusing on service, especially in a down market when people are less willing to part with their dollars, is the key to repeat clientele. Next question, are there types of business that are best to stay away from in a down market? Some of the businesses that will be harder hit include more of the discretionary type of services, such as salons and spas. I do financing for some spas and massage spas, and they're doing great. The numbers are up.
Yeah, that's interesting. We've seen, there have been studies. I think you might have even referenced it 3 weeks ago. Sometimes I don't know where I get all my information, but a lot of it comes from the show. That a lot more people are going for massages and things like that,
right.
to make themselves feel better, during, times like this, people do things like that,
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. I never knew that. So it's, you wonder which source.
A lot of people go for massages for medical reasons. That's a
sure.
thing that people don't know about.
Yeah, absolutely.
It says here certain franchises, such as large brand name ones that charge up to $20 million just to get the franchise license. Wow. I don't even know. $20 million.
Lord God.
Or something you might want to stay away from, of course. Something with a lower initial startup cost, like an original idea, could make more sense. You also have to look at the overall environment. Sandwich shops are a good business model, but they're overly saturated. That's what's nice about a franchise. Again, they'll help you with the site and let you know the best place to put your franchise. Whatever industry you're in, if you have to lease space.
Right.
And what else here? Do most small businesses fail, especially during a recession? It says it's a high percentage that fail, upwards of 50% within the first 3 years. And remember, this article is about just business in general, not
Correct.
specifically franchise.
Right.
Some of the major issues are not having a well-thought-out business plan, the inability to execute on an idea, not having sufficient reserves and cash flow. They might not be able to get funding to start their business from traditional sources like the SBA. They might be focused on their family or home to finance the business, which can be extremely risky.
Yeah.
So again, that's why we've always been a big proponent of hiring those specialists and experts. And just to speak to a franchise consultant to help you find a franchise business. Then with the franchise business, your chance of failure is much lower. It's a proven plan. You don't have to do all this stuff. Again,
right.
you have to either be that person who's willing to give up a little bit of control to have the franchise. But on the flip side, everything's going to be done for you, and then you can get a specialist, an expert to help you with financing, and attorneys to review the franchise agreement, the lease, all that stuff is really the way to go.
Yeah, you can make all these extra fees, by the way, you can make it part of the loan package, can't you, Don? Like, as for example, like the franchise attorney, let's say it's a $10,000 fee. You can make that part of the loan package, can't you? It's the same thing with hiring let's say a real estate expert or, an accounting expert or whatever that may be.
Right.
You can pool all of that into your loan, can't you? So you say, okay, $20,000 in consulting fees, for attorney, someone to find a location, and perhaps the account. I think a lot of people don't know that they can do that. They can incorporate those expenses.
It'll all go towards someone's down payment, their injection, all their costs associated with the franchise.
Absolutely, because I think a lot of times people say, I've heard in the past, I'm sure you might have heard it, people say, I can't afford a franchise attorney. I'll use my cousin Vito, he's an attorney.
Right.
He's got a, very bad move if he's not a franchise attorney. Very, very dangerous. So you want to be careful about that. A lot of the things that she was mentioning in the article, a lack of business plan or a lack of system, whatever it may be. I mean, again, these are the advantages of buying a franchise. Is the homework in most cases has already been done. You know what I mean? They've come up with this system. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to stay up late at night and say, God, I got to think of my next marketing campaign. I mean, which is again why you and I have been so pro franchising. So yeah, absolutely.
And here's something through Global BX. They had a blog, and they put on here 12 things you absolutely must know before buying a business. And this is good for people listening, existing franchisees who are looking to diversify, expand. Mm-hmm. Just some basics. For example, how happy is the client base? Is the market for this product or service growing? So these are things that, some real basic but necessary questions you have to ask, to that existing business that you're looking to buy. So it's not a startup. Some of these could apply to a startup, but basically on a resale. Of course, when you're buying an existing business, well, how happy are the clients? What is the brand promise? What is the quality of the management team? Who are the key players? Are they happy? And of course, are the employees happy? Has the valuation of the business increased every year? How does the company manage and measure performance at the company level, the functional level, the individual level? Why is the business being sold? What is the quality of the tangible assets? What is the reputation of the company?
True.
Are the financials up to date and the taxes paid, and and are the debts itemized? And I added another one in the case it's a franchise resale. Of course, what's the track record of the franchise system?
Sure, absolutely.
At the corporate level, and then that gets into a whole other thing where you have to go through a process of being approved by the franchisor, and you're going to want to go check them out. That's probably a big reason why you were looking at that specific resale, that you probably like that business. You might have already done your homework on the franchise, but that's going to be part of the process. But these are good practical things that you have to do when you're looking at an existing business for sale.
Yeah, it's a wonderful article, to bring to the listeners' attention, because again, I think, we could probably spend the whole show talking about this, but I mean, it does show you the differences or the advantages of why you'd want to go into a franchise system. Again, that's not for everybody. We've mentioned that time and time again that franchising is definitely not for everybody. But I mean, there are certainly major advantages. I mean, look at the franchise disclosure document. When talking about financials and things like that. That information should be in there. I guess under the earnings claim section. I guess in most cases it's like an average or something like that. But again, that franchise disclosure document is very, very powerful. It separates it from a regular business opportunity, So, yeah, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. So it's a wonderful article. I was thinking that we should probably start posting these things up on our website, shouldn't we?
Yeah, it's a good idea.
So always thinking. But why don't we take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Okay, you've got my attention.
It's a rare event in the world of franchising when an opportunity comes your way that can and will thrive in almost any economic environment. It's here, and its name is Big Mouth Advertising.
Big Mouth.
BMA is a leader in the exciting world of mobile media advertising. Why is mobile media advertising able to defy the economic cycles? The answer is obvious. In times of economic weakness, advertising is crucial for survival as the consumer dollar is scarce and the competition fierce. What is mobile media? It's the newest and fastest growing segment in the advertising world. Mobile media brings the message directly to the consumer. Mobile media goes to the consumer in traffic where he eats and where he plays. It quite simply cannot be turned off or thrown out. And when you join the Big Mouth team as a franchisee, you are joining the best. The Big Mouth advantage is simple and successful. We invest in a strong infrastructure and in great people. As a franchisee, you have access to this entire system, including telemarketing, sales maximization, general and administrative support, design and creative services, even billing and collection services. All you need is a mobile media vehicle, a driver, and the willingness to create a financially sound and limitless business for yourself. There are no long-term leases to sign, no expensive build-outs, no office personnel to hire. You will be part of the Big Mouth advertising community and share its entire website and reception services, as well as its complete back-office services. This virtual office guarantees you the freedom to close those sales that will make you a success. We are so proud of our successes that we have voluntarily disclosed our revenue statements. Now, how many other franchises are doing that? Even in these historically rough financial times, Big Mouth Advertising has become a dominant force in the mobile media industry. Join the Big Mouth team and take the first step toward financial freedom. Please call Ron at 888-98-GO-BIG. That's 888-98-GO-BIG. Big Mouth!
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. And as we were saying earlier, Don, we have a great show this morning. We're welcoming very special guest, Jim Hunter, who is the president and CEO of House Doctors. And House Doctors Handyman franchise is an exciting franchise opportunity. And as we were saying earlier, Don, the home repair and handyman industry in North America is growing significantly due to the increase in home ownership. Hey, Jim, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Martin and Don. It's great to be here. I'm excited to be part of your show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Jim.
Show. Yeah, absolutely. Jim, we always like to ask our guests where you're calling from this morning.
Yeah, I'm calling from the House Doctors corporate office in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, not that far away. I can kind of guess what's the weather like there today. Is it a little?
It's chilly, a wee bit cool, but it's sunny.
Yeah, same here in Pennsylvania. You know, we're not that far away from you. You know, so Don and I were excited to speak with you, Jim, because we know that your background, you have that franchisee background, which is kind of a rare opportunity to have that kind of guest on the show. Did you want to talk to our guests about what you were doing before joining House Doctors?
Yeah, in the past, as you said, I've been a franchisee. Originally I had a corporate background in telecoms, and decided I wanted to own my own business, and I had this entrepreneur thing in me. So I decided to buy a franchise 20 years ago. In fact, back in obviously I'm not from around here. Back in Scotland, I started a franchise, a quick copy franchise, interestingly enough, and it was the franchise took it into at that time, and 20 years ago, as I said, we had great success. I had it for myself and my wife had it for 10 years, and grew the business and built it and sold it, which is exciting thing of business ownership, and you're building an asset for yourself. And then I moved on to the franchisor side after I emigrated to Canada, and I've been involved with different franchisors. So I think the unique partnership in my mind of franchisee and franchisor, if you get the right match, it's a very strong business model.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It must help you with your job too, I suspect, Jim, to have that franchisee background, because I guess you can kind of sort of put yourself in their shoes. You kind of sort of know what they're thinking.
Yes, exactly. I get excited about people getting into business and seeing them build their success and building their assets, and I get excited when people come along looking at our franchise, and because I've been a franchisee, I used to sit at their side of the table as such, and it gives me a good feeling of where they are in their lives, that they've reached a crossroads and they're looking to make the right decision.
I imagine. That's fantastic.
So tell our audience, Jim, if you can, what House Doctors does. Tell us a little bit about the franchise system.
Mm-hmm. Well, House Doctors started in 1995 in Cincinnati, and we were one of the first companies to realize that the society that we're in was changing a bit from do it yourself to do it for me, and the service industries were growing. And House Doctors was started to bring professionalism to the handyman market, which was growing. More people wanted handyman work done, and contractors were really focused on the larger jobs. So there was no professional company really focused on this. So the small jobs, like say you have in your to-do list or your honey-do list, is where House Doctors started. Stuff like changing a faucet or repairing drywall. Interestingly enough, I read recently the average homeowner has 22 items on their honey-do list. So we'd hit on a growing niche, and within 6 months of starting, the first House Doctors had 6 handymen hired, and the guys were booked out for 2 to 3 weeks in advance. And obviously with that initial success, about a year and a half later, a franchise system was launched. Now we have over 100 territories. We have franchisees in 42 states. The franchisees most definitely bring the professionalism to their market. They employ their handymen. The handymen are insured and bonded. They're focused on customer service, so they turn up on time. They also wear uniforms. They clean up after them when the work is done. So it's that professionalism that maybe wasn't as strong in the market a few years ago that House Doctors brings to the market. And again, it's focusing on the small jobs. Although now our guys do larger, quite a few of our franchisees do larger major home improvements like kitchen remodels and bathroom remodels.
Having a house is a pain in the neck, just to be fun. And there's always stuff, Sharon's always talking about her own honey-do list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just, hey, that's just the deal when you have a home. And you're right, you go pick up the phone book. Maybe if you're lucky you have a handyman, but those people, at least in my experience, you've used over the years, have either moved on or they're just unreliable.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that.
So I can see where this is, such a valuable service, just to come there with, as long as there's, consistency, the job's done right, it's not too expensive, and it's a professional job, like you said, Jim. I can see where, the growth. Now, you guys started in '95. Did you start right out with franchising the concept and doing it, or had you been doing it at just the business before franchising?
Well, the people who started, the guys who started it, had originally been involved in a company called Home Team, which was a franchise, and it was in fact focused on the home inspection industry. And that franchise, they'd started bringing professionalism to that market, and their strength was to find niches that were growing. So they had a little bit of franchising background behind them, but it took about a year and a half, 2 years to develop the model before they launched it as a franchise. But I mean, the way I see it, this market isn't going anywhere. It's not going away. It's growing and growing because more and more home ownership and more people having less time to do things is what we're all about. Dual income families, baby boomers, all these things are feeding this market and, as I say, enabling our franchisees to get some real growth.
I would agree with that.
I would think, Jim, in this economy homes aren't selling. People might decide to take their home off the market and maybe put a bit more money into their home and, get all that stuff. Or they, when they want to just even put their house up for sale, it's good to have House Doctors come in and just take care of the little things to put their house in best position for sale. So, really you're there to service all kinds of situations. Yeah,
interestingly enough, one of the exciting things that happened last year, despite the economy, the downturn in the economy, is we had our highest producing franchisee in the history of the company, and we had our fastest growing franchisee in the history of the company. And you were right on the mark there with one of the reasons that's causing that is that less people are moving just now, and more people are focused on their house at the moment. Go back to my days from Scotland. People are making their house into their castle. They're really focused on improving what they have at the moment, and maybe not moving so much, and still want a feel good factor from what improvements to do on their house. So that's actually playing into our franchise, the industry and the market that we're in. There's more people, as I say, looking to fix up what they have at the moment.
Right, it's their biggest investment, the most important investment. Yeah.
Yes.
It was interesting, Jim, that example you were giving. I think that was the one. I'm familiar. Was that the one in Pottsville, Pennsylvania?
Yes.
I see you were talking. I'm familiar with Pottsville, and I know it's not a very big town. I'm actually about 60 miles north of Philly. So Pottsville isn't that far from me. I would say it's about 30 miles. So it's interesting that it's a fairly small town, yet they did so well.
Yes.
So it's really quite incredible.
Yes, we've seen quite a few franchisees over last year, and again the same start to this year, and they're doing really well. And the guy Joe in Pottsville, it's a fantastic story of how he's built his business just over a few short years to be the highest revenue generating within a system. And as I say, he does a lot that we have now real good systems and programs in place for the franchisee. And Joe works very close with the franchisor, and he also, as I say, the market and the timing of his business is just so perfect for him. So he's really doing well. Interesting enough, we had another guy who bought a franchise last year from an area very close to Joe in a different territory, and he said that he travelled into Joe's area and saw our name everywhere. So he obviously does his marketing as well.
That's fantastic.
And Jim, for people listening, how would you describe to them the House Doctors franchise system? Someone's thinking of advertising. People think, well, I don't want to get my hands dirty and do the work. People owning a House Doctors franchise, they're more or less in a CEO or management type position. Maybe talk about that, just the whole system.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great question again. House doctors, immediately people look at house doctors and they think, well, I don't know if I want to be a handyman swinging a hammer, but our franchisees don't. They are most definitely are the CEO, the manager of the business. House Doctors now has franchisees, as I say, in over 100 territories, and very few of them actually swing the hammer or repair the drywall. The franchisees employ handymen. They build their teams, and the handymen, as I say, insured and bonded, so they look for good guys. But the franchisee's responsibility is the management of the business. It's most definitely working with the team and making sure the guys are doing well with the customer service aspect of it, but also realizing the importance of the marketing of the business and having an efficient office support structure behind the handyman who are scheduled to go out and do the work. So we look for, in our franchise, we look for managers who are comfortable with a sales and marketing type role within the business, and also comfortable with driving a business forward and working with a franchisor who can support them and offer good programs to them.
In this economy, I guess it's also helping House Doctors. Unfortunately, more people are out of work. So I know that can be a tough part of this business, finding the employees.
Right.
But there's just a lot of quality, skilled people out there. So I guess that's been helping your franchisees to find some workers.
Yes, most definitely. The franchisees, I've never heard a complaint of people saying that they can't find the guys who will do this work. Most definitely the guys are there. The skill that the franchisee has to have, and part of our training, a major part of our training is focused on finding the right guys to build this professional company within their community. There's lots of guys out there. It's finding the right ones is what we focus on.
Yeah, and I think that's important. One of the things I like too, Jim, is how your franchisees play the role of a manager, so they get a chance to work on their business and not so much in their business. Don and I have referenced that a lot. It could be kind of dangerous. So I think that's a wonderful thing. So that's fantastic. One of the questions we've been asking recently on the show, Jim, is what role has technology played in your business? Has it played a big role?
Yes, technology, I think in any business today, I think technology has to be a part of it. And I think the challenge that the small independent business person may find longer term is that technology has to be a part of the business really, really quickly. The benefit of franchise brings on board is that we have, as the franchisor, a technology type department that we have our own proprietary software for scheduling the handyman. We're actually this year going to launch online software, web-based software. So in fact, the franchisees can have access basically from anywhere to their scheduling and their marketing software that we put in place for them. So as I say, technology is something that I believe that every business should bring on board. I think as part of a franchise, there's a huge advantage, and the franchisor focuses on that for you. And I think as the internet grows and develops, what we've found over the last few years is there's more and more leads and more work coming from the internet, even in this industry, which years ago you probably wouldn't have looked for a handyman on the internet.
That's so true. Yeah, there have been a lot of changes. Jim, we have to take a quick break. Are you able to stick around for another segment? Oh,
yes, certainly, yeah.
We'll take another quick break, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Thank you.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. And we have a very special guest today, Jim Hunter, who is the president and CEO of House Doctors. And House Doctors is a nationally franchised professional handyman service and is one of the leading property repair, remodeling, and maintenance companies in North America. And Don, I think I'm up. Jim, one of the questions I wanted to get back to, are there any numbers on your industry as far as how big the industry is?
Yeah, it's really, the numbers are really pretty large. It's quite exciting. The last stats for the home improvement industry were around $150 billion. That focuses not just on small handyman work, but obviously remodeling of kitchens and bathrooms. As I say, and the size of the industry again is some of the reasons that our franchisees broke our revenue records last year. And you know, it's an exciting opportunity because the demographic changes we have with baby boomers and dual income families and single professionals, people are now looking for more people to do things for them. That's only going to continue to grow. So we're really excited about the industry opportunity.
That's great.
Interesting. Jim, what has been the most interesting thing that's happened to you at House Doctors? Was it when you took your whole company for a 2-week paid vacation to Scotland?
Yeah. Well, that was something that we did try, but it wasn't the most exciting thing. Anyway, I would have to say that last year was the most exciting year that we've had here. You know, obviously the media and all the things that are happening when you turn on the TV, negativity that we see in a lot of markets because of the economy and the changes that are happening. We were actually seeing growth, and as I said, some of our franchisees, we spoke about some of them earlier, doing fantastic results and the fastest growth in the history of the company. Our new franchisees last year ramped up over 70% faster than they ever have in the history of the company, and our highest generating revenue franchisee in the history of the company. These were all exciting last year, and as I said, to be doing that sort of thing in a down economy was probably the greatest thing that's happened to this company for a while. So.
I see.
Yeah.
What types of characteristics do you look for in a franchisee? You have a good amount of franchisees now. I guess you have a good idea of who might fit in your system. What are specific characteristics, Jim, you look for?
Well, most definitely, it's a manager. It's not, as we touched on earlier, not the person who swings the hammer. We're looking for someone who's comfortable building a team who's maybe had some supervisory management experience before. We also look for them to be comfortable and understanding the importance of the sales and marketing role. And we have a lot of relationships now with national vendors who will help them put together programs with our input as to how they will build their business within their market. But they have to be comfortable and know the importance of the marketing and building a brand. And we also, as I say, want them to build a customer service culture. So that's the sort of thing that we're looking for. We do a personality profiles as part of our selection criteria. We have a discovery day where they come and they interview us so they can get to know our team, and we also talk to them and interview them to feel that they're a comfortable fit. We most definitely believe in getting the right match in the franchise, and if we can get the right franchisee with the right skills, we know we've got the right programs to help them make their business a success.
Interesting. And who are your franchisees, Jim? I mean, have they had diverse backgrounds? Have you seen that?
Yes. I mean, I thought when I got into franchising 20 years ago that everybody would be like me, but it wasn't quite the situation. And interestingly enough, people come from different areas to business ownership, or different backgrounds to business ownership, and there's lots of different reasons of how they got there. There may be VPs and of other companies. There may be people who have been managers, who have been supervisors. There may be people who actually, I mean, we've got them who have built businesses of their own, but maybe need to take it to the next level. And look for a franchise company to give that marketing support and the system that they couldn't put in place. So it's varied. It's people who come to a crossroads in their life. Maybe they've been downsized in today's world by their own company, and they're thinking maybe business ownership is the way to go. And it varies in their background, but they all have the common thing of coming to a crossroads and making a decision that let me investigate this franchising.
That's something. I was reading about the training. It sounds like it's a pretty intense training program for new franchisees.
Yeah, it's very extensive. It starts with a pre-training phase, which we call our Fast Start program. This can take up to from 4 to 7 weeks, and actually can be done from home. We have a checklist of over 100 items in our Fast Start program that we work through with the franchisee to help him prepare for the business ownership. So, I mean, we've done it before. We've got lots of experience here, and we've put together this checklist so that we don't miss anything. Everything from setting up his company to doing a business plan is included in this Fast Start program. Once it's completed, that it then comes on our initial training week. So the initial training concludes with an intense week of classroom training here in Cincinnati. And franchisees learn everything from scheduling the handyman to go out to do the work, and hiring the handyman, how they hire them, who they're looking for, the questions to ask, and what background the handyman should have, right through to preparing a marketing plan and budget. After the training, franchisees are therefore ready to hit the ground running and ready to launch their business. But it doesn't really stop there. That first year is critical to the business. Therefore, we have what we call an academy program. So as soon as they start their first year, they get put on the academy program, and that means that they're monitored and compared. Their growth is compared to other franchisees that went through the same programs. So we can tell immediately. They send us the data and reports, and we can tell immediately if they're doing what they should be doing, or if they're not achieving the results, or if they're out of whack with one particular part of their business, and we can tell that relatively quickly and get them back online. And we don't stop there. So that's from home office support, but we also have a mentoring program they go in their first year, and we network them with maybe Joe in Pottsville or another successful franchisee who they can then talk to and compare notes with and say, well, if there are any challenges or any concerns, they can also not just discuss it with us, but also discuss it with an existing franchisee. So it's pretty extensive now for the franchisees. And as I said, that's one of the reasons our franchisees are ramping up 70% faster than they ever did in the history of the company.
That's fantastic. And I think, that technology that you guys use can help you identify if there is a problem with the franchisee early, and I love that mentoring program, too, to kind of help, I guess you could say, share best practices,
Yes.
Which I think is so important. Is there a typical day for your franchisees, would you say?
Yeah, House Talks' franchisees, it's a pretty fast-paced environment that they work in, but the franchisee is very much in control of it. It differs from say maybe a fast food franchise where their busy time, maybe the lunch or certain times of the day when the customers are coming to them. The franchisee very much controls it in a House Talks franchise. They normally start their day by reviewing emails or voicemails that they may need to attend to in the morning. And while they're doing this, they might check the schedule to review the jobs that the handymen are working on that day. Before leaving the office, they may review the schedule and discuss maybe the next stage of their marketing plan with their customer service representative. The CSR is also the one who schedules the handyman when customers call in. So the CSR really runs the office environment, obviously managed by the franchisee. And then the franchisee may make some site visits. He might pick something up on the way from Home Depot on the way to visiting one of his handymen. But he'll also take the opportunity to visit with customers in the market and build up relationships. This is part of the franchisee's role to do a networking within his market. He may go to a BNI, a business networking meeting, a Chamber of Commerce meeting. He may fit one of them in during his day. And he also may visit commercial property owners as part of his commercial marketing plan, because this business is also focused on the commercial side as well as the residential. And there's all sorts of property owners there who also need professional handymen. So he goes out and visits commercial property owners to let them know of his services. He'll then return at the end of the day to the office, catch up with his CSR, to review the day's progress and plan any new work that has come in and review what direction they're going in the following day.
You definitely have to maximize potential business, and that's good. Residential, commercial,
yes.
Talking to other segments, and
yes.
Networking. You're right, is a big part, Jim.
Yes.
What advice would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur looking to buy a franchise?
Well, I think obviously coming from being a franchisee, I've learned through experience in working in different franchise systems. First, I would say that every franchise is not the same, and a franchise does not guarantee success.
Right.
I would say that the skills you need to run a fast food franchise, for example, are different from the skills you need to run a handyman franchise.
Right.
So when considering buying a franchise, I think entrepreneurs should focus on matching the skills that they have with the skills that are required by the franchisor. They should look at existing franchisees that are making it work and compare what they brought to the table. At House Doctors, we believe that when you get that match right of a franchisee coming along with the right skills, and you also give the right programs and put the right things in place for that franchisee, then franchising is one of the strongest business models in the market. And an entrepreneur should focus and find out what it takes to be a successful franchisee in that system.
Great advice, Jim. What are House Doctors' plans for the future?
As I said, the average homeowner has 22 items on their honey-do list. My wife actually says we've got 52 items. She says, the first time I've been above average at anything. So if you also consider changes in their demographics like baby boomers, dual-income families, single professionals that I spoke about earlier, and the fact that each generation has less skills than the work in this work than the previous generation, then this market will continue to grow. House Doctors, we plan to have around 400 franchises in the U.S. alone, and we're now also talking with interested parties about opening in other countries. So we're excited about the future and where this can go. Yeah, a lot of growth.
Absolutely. Jim, what's the best way for our listeners to get more information on your franchise opportunity?
HouseDoctors.com. Today's technology.
That's fantastic. And we have that posted right up on our show page. And Don and I want to thank you again, Jim. You've been an incredible guest, and we'd love to have you back towards the end of the year or early next year.
Thank you.
Good job. Thanks so much, Jim.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
So, Don?
Yeah, nice guy.
It was interesting what he said, too, about, the generation, like the younger generation having less skills, than the preceding generation. That makes a lot of sense. So, as you were saying, that growth opportunity is just incredible, isn't it?
It's a needed service. If people have to get it, and if you're good, in this case, packaging a franchise can be an interesting investment for someone out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's a great opportunity, So, again, for our listeners, go to franchiseinterviews.com, franchisefunding.net, gofranchise.com, and we have some great shows coming up over the next month. We got Wing Zone, we've got Big Mouth Advertising, we've got Rita's, we've got TSS Photography, and so it's going to be an exciting month coming up, Don.
Yeah, great opportunities. Look forward to those shows, Marty. You have a great day. Good job.
You too, John. Enjoy your holiday, and I'll talk to you next week.
Okay. Take care.
Take care.